So it's now. Right, okay. CVP analysis, I think you might have done this previously as well. So here, first we'll go through what is CVP analysis, and there are different assumptions in CVP analysis, and the main concept based is the contribution in CVP analysis. Then we'll discuss few examples as well. Right. So in CVP analysis, it means the cost volume profit analysis. This is the main calculation of CVP analysis is the break-even point. But the break-even point is not the only calculation that we do. Right? Break-even calculation is break CVP analysis is a break-even point. CVP analysis means the cost volume profit analysis. So there are a lot of things that we can, lot of information that we can gather by doing the CVP analysis apart from break-even point. So the break-even point means that is the point where we are covering all the cost. It means the total revenue is equal to the total cost. So that is the point where we are starting the profits. So to run the organization, we need to identify the which point that we can cover all the cost. Then only we can have some kind of a profits and we can have some kind of a future plan how much we are going to earn, right? So that is called the cost volume profit analysis. So CVP analysis is a technique used to examine the relationships among the total volume of an independent variable, total cost, total revenue, and the profit. So regarding these different variables, we can collect different informations to take decisions. So that is what CVP analysis. So the break-even point is only one calculation that we do here. Right. So if we can do the CVP analysis in organizations, we can easily identify what is the break-even point. It means how many number of units that we have to produce and sell to cover all the cost or even the services. And from that, so this CVP analysis we are using only in the short run period, right? Because there are a lot of assumptions that we do. Based on those assumptions, we can use the CVP analysis only in the short run period. Long run period to take different decisions, we have different kind of techniques. So that we have discussed previously as well. What are the long run decision making tools? We have discussed different things. Under the decision making, under risk and uncertainty lesson, we discuss decision trees, payoff tables. Those are long run decision tools. So, or even we can take the balance scorecard as well. Then in future, we will learn about the investment appraisals, NPVs, payback period, those things. Also, we are using to take decisions in a long run period. For the short run decision making, we use the CVP analysis. This is not the only tool. So there are different tools. So this is one of the tools that we are using to take decisions in the short run period. Why we can't use this in the long run period because there are a lot of assumptions. Based on those assumptions, we do these calculations. When it comes to the long run period, those assumptions are not valid, right? So we'll discuss those assumptions. Right. So before that, when we do CVP analysis, there are different cost classifications: fixed and variable cost, then controllable, uncontrollable cost, direct, indirect. Classifications ගොඩක් තියෙනවා, but in CVP analysis we use one classification, that is fixed cost and the variable cost. So based on fixed cost and the variable cost identification, we do calculations here. When we make classification, actually fixed variable වලට අමතරව තව cost classification තියෙනවා. So if we take fixed cost, variable cost, there are fixed cost, semi-fixed cost and the semi-variable cost, right? So there are different types of cost classifications apart from these two under this method, this type of classification. But in this calculation, we can't take those semi-fixed cost or the semi-variable cost. What are semi-fixed here? Semi-fixed cost or semi-variable cost here. What is fixed cost? Cost that doesn't change with the නිකම්ම අපිට කියන්න බෑ cost එක change වෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා කියන්න බෑ change වෙන්නේ නැත්te මොනවත් එක්ක cost that is not changing with the output levels, right? Output එක වැඩි වෙන්න cost එක change වෙන්නේ නැත්නම් that we call it as the fixed cost. Let's say for an example, okay, this building, assume this building is under a lease or rent. මේක rent එකට තියනවා කියලා හිතන්න. මේකේ lectures තිබ්බත් නැතත් we have to pay the rent. Right? Then the variable cost means cost that vary in direct relation to the change in the activity levels. Right? So the activity levels, output එකත් එක්ක cost එක change වෙනවා නම් we call it as the variable cost. For an example, if we take the same example, මේ building එකේ අපි lectures තිබ්බොත් තමයි අපි තෝ lecture එකට payment එකක් කරනවා. lecture එකේ payment එක කියන්නේ lecture එක conduct කරොත් විතරයි. Right? The lecture එක තිබ්බත් නැතත් but we have to pay the rent. So those are the difference between the fixed and variable. What is semi-fixed? Semi-fixed cost කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? Semi-fixed cost. This is what? This is fixed cost, right? Output take consider change ba? Cost is change in that. So what is this? This is the variable cost. Even though we draw this line like this, මේක ඇත්තටම බලුවොත් practical situations වල මෙහෙම අඩු වෙනවා. Right? ඒ කියන්නේ අපි products හදන්න එක product එකේ තියෙන variable cost එක අඩු වෙනවා. There can be different savings, right? So this is the variable cost. Semi-fixed cost is like this. We call it as set cost also, right? It means up to certain level it is fixed, right? Level fixed. After that it is increasing, but it's increasing by a fixed amount. Fixed amount right? For an example, just think we have an employee, one employee in our organization, we pay salary of 20,000. Company employee. If we are recruiting another person, what will happen? The total salary cost will be 40,000. If we recruit another one, I will give our 20,000. So same amount it is a fixed amount. The cost is changing with a fixed amount that we call it as the semi-fixed cost. Then what is semi-variable cost? Semi-variable cost. Up to certain level it stays. Then it's increasing. Not like this. Fixed amount එකකින් වැඩි වෙන්නේ නැහැ. එක level එකක් වෙනකම් fix තියෙනවා ඊට පස්සේ increase වෙනවා. Sample එකක් ගත්තොත් අපේ internet routers වල තියෙන up to certain level එක ගාණක් තියෙනවා. එතනින් එහාට අපිට use කරන්න ඕන the cost is increased. Let's say for an example for 1000 rupees 10 GB. ඊට පස්සේ ඒක වැඩි වෙනවා නම් වැඩි වෙන විදියට cost එක වැඩි වෙනවා. Right? Okay, so even though we have these 4 categories in this, in CVP analysis or the break-even point calculation, we can use only fixed cost and the variable cost. Right? That is a practical limitation that we have. Right. So as I earlier mentioned, we can use this method in a short run period because there are a lot of assumptions. Those assumptions are not valid in the long run. So these are the assumptions of break-even analysis. Why we make different assumptions in calculations? Economics වල හැම ගොඩක් assumptions දා ගන්නවානේ. මේවා assume කරලා තමයි මේ calculation එක කරන්නේ. Because those are the practical limitations of that particular method. මේ method එක use කරන එකේ practical limitations තියෙනවා. ඒ නිසා තමයි assumptions set එකක් දාගෙන අපි කියනවා හරි. මේක මෙහෙමයි කියලා හිතලා තමයි අපි මේක හදන්නේ. Practically එහෙම නැහැ. Right? So if we take first one, all fixed and variable costs can be identified. So we assume that all the fixed and variable costs we can identify and we can categorize properly. But in practical situations, we can't identify. Sometimes there are some costs. අපි දැන් අද බැලුවොත් ඒ cost එක fixed cost එකක් විදිහට තියෙනවා තව ටික දවසකින් ඒක variable cost එකක් වෙනවා. Right? So it is practical, it is difficult to identify all the fixed and variable cost, but to do the calculation, for the calculation purpose, we put assumption like the all fixed and variable cost can be identified. Second one, the variable costs are assumed to vary directly with the output එක වැඩි වෙන ගානේ ඒ සමානවම cost එක වැඩි වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Practically එහෙම වෙන්නේ නැහැ. So අපි product එකක් මොකක් හරි purchase කරන්න ගියා කියලා කියමු. ඒක product එකක් ගන්න ගානේ products 10ක් ගද්දි ගන්න අපේ cost එකයි එකක් වෙනස්. Right? product එකක් හදන්න ගියාම මේ අපි හිතමු මේක පුටුවක් හදනවා කියලා. මේක පුටුවක් හදන්න යන cost එකයි. පුටු 10ක් හදන්න යන cost එකයි. පුටු 100ක් හදන්න යන cost එකයි මේ same cost එකෙන්ම නෙමෙයි වැඩි වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. Because there can be some kind of a savings, right? So, but that kind of a situations we can't use for this particular calculation. That is why we put the assumption saying that variable cost assumed to vary directly with the output. Right? Then fixed cost will remain constant. Fixed cost also sometimes within a 1 year period also there can be changes. මාස 6ක් විතර fixed cost එක විදිහකට තියෙනවා ඊට පස්සේ change වෙන්න පුළුවන්. But we put assumption saying that fixed cost will remain constant, there are no changes. Then selling prices are assumed to remain constant for all levels of output. ඒකත් වැරදි. Practically හැම output එක product එකකට අපි දෙන selling price එකයි product C එකට දෙන selling price එකයි එකක් නෙමෙයි. That can be changed, right? Then the sales mix of products will remain constant. Products වල තියෙන sales mix එක අද අපි sell කරන products ටිකම නෙමෙයි තව මාස 6කින් sell කරන්නේ. So if we take for an example a supermarket එකක් ගත්තොත් අද sell කරන products ටික ඒ විදිහටම sell කරන්නේ නැහැ තව ටික කාලෙකින්. So there can be some seasonal products, right? So but we can't accommodate those things into our CVP calculations. So therefore we put an assumption. Then it is assumed that all production will be sold. අපි හදන හැම product එකක්ම sell කරනවා කියලා හිතාගෙන තමයි අපි මේ calculation එක කරන්නේ. ඒකට එහෙම නැහැ. Practically we have some kind of a closing stock, right? හදන හැම product එකම sell කරන්න බෑ. Then the volume of activity is the only relevant factor which will affect cost. Cost එකට affect වෙන්නේ අපි හදන product එකට යන cost එක විතරයි. එහෙමද? ඊට අමතරව මොනවද තියෙන්නේ? Volume of activity කියන්නේ අපි හදන products ප්‍රමාණය. How many products that we are producing. ඒක අරගෙන තව මොනවද බලමු. අපි හිතමු අද අපි හදනවා today we are producing 10 products. මේ වගේ පොඩු 10ක් හදනවා. තව මාස 4කින් විතර ආයි අපි හදනවා පොඩු 10ක්. අද හදන මේ පොඩු 10යි මාස 4කින් පස්සේ හදන පොඩු 10යි cost එක එකක්ම වෙන්න පුළුවන්ද? එහෙම නොවෙන්න මොනවද තියෙන්නේ? The price of the materials can be increased. So mainly due to inflation, right? Inflation or it can be foreign exchange rate changes. So because of those kind of reasons, there can be changes. But even though it is within the within one particular financial year or the short run period, there can be a lot of changes for the cost. So, but if we are going to accommodate all those things into our calculations, we won't be able to do this properly. So therefore, we put an assumption saying that the volume of activity is the only relevant factor which will affect the cost. ඇත්තට බැලුවොත් අපි මේ calculation එක කොච්චර කරත් ඒක 100% accurate calculation එකක් නෙමෙයි. Right? Because අපි මේ assumptions මේ තියෙන assumptions ටික දැක්කම තේරෙනවා ඒ ඇත්තටම බැලුවොත් මේ අපි හදන calculation එක කරන්න ඕන නිසා තමයි අපි මේ assumptions ටික දාලා තියෙන්නේ. ඇත්තටම මේ assumptions ටික නැතුව තිබ්බොත් අපි calculation එක බැලුවා. There are no 100% accurate calculations. So there can be some issues. That is why we put assumptions. Right? Okay, so those are the assumptions of break-even analysis. And this is the main concept of the contribution, main concept of the break-even point, that is the contribution. So contribution is the difference between the sale value and the marginal cost of sales. It means from the total revenue or the selling price, if we remove the variable cost, the remaining part we call it as contribution. Right? එතකොට මේ contribution එක ඇතුලේ මොනවද තියෙන්නේ? Selling price එකෙන් variable cost එක අයින් කරාම contribution එක නම් contribution එක ඇතුලේ මොනවද තියෙන්නේ? Profit එකයි total fixed cost එකයි. Yes. Profit and fixed cost. ඒක හැදෙන්නේ අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් selling price එකක් හදන්නේ කොහොමද? basic way cost plus profit equals to selling price. Then there are two types of cost in our calculation. That is fixed cost plus variable cost plus profit equals to selling price. So from the selling price, if we remove the variable cost, the fixed cost and the profit is the remaining part. So this part we call it as contribution. So when we do CVP calculations, ultimately we are calculating the break-even point. The break-even point the first step is to identify the contribution. Right? So the contribution එක හදන්න නැතුව break-even point එක හදන්න බෑ. The formulas පහක් හයක් තියෙනවා. ඒතර first step එක වෙන්නේ identify the contribution. So in some calculations, let's say in examination, ළමයි ready වෙලා යනවා contribution එක හදන්න selling price එකයි variable cost එකයි බලන්න. සමහර වෙලාවට calculation එකේ selling price එකක් නැහැ variable cost එකක් නැහැ. Fixed cost එකයි profit එකයි දීලා තිබ්බොත් එතකොට identify කරගන්න ඕන මේ දෙක එකතු කරාම contribution එක එනවා. තමයි එකපාරක් දාලා තිබ්බ exam එකේ. මේ දෙකම දාලා තිබ්බා ගොඩක් ළමයි හදලා තිබ්බේ නෑ. හරි ලේසි ගානක්. මේ දෙක දාලා තිබ්බේ. මේ දෙක add කරාම contribution. Right. Okay. Right. So this is about the concept of contribution. So consider product with a variable cost per unit is 26 and the selling price 42 and the fixed cost for the product is 12,000. So you need to calculate the contribution per unit. Then if 1,000 units are sold, what is the contribution and total profit? The profit per unit. And there are different levels they have given to identify the sales, the profit, and finally the contribution as well. Right. What other one? So the contribution 42 minus 26, 16, and if 1,000 sold, we have to multiply by the 1,000, 16,000. The total profit and the profit per unit at this level of sales, so 16,000. That is the total contribution. From that, if we remove the fixed cost part, then we have the total profit. If we sell 1,000 units, 4,000 divided by 1,000 units, profit at this levels of sales. Then calculate the total profit to the following levels of sales. If we sell 5,500, 500 into 16 minus 12,000, I think this 8,000 minus 2,000 minus. Right? අතන ගයි ගන්න. මේ හතර ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ මේ තියෙන්නේ total profit at these levels of sales. 1,000 වලදී profits එක 4,000 total. ඒක divide කරාම මේකෙන් 1,000 sell කරොත් if we sell 1,000, 4 is per unit profit. Right? If we sell 500 units, it is different. The percentage of minus 4,000, 8,000, 4,000. I think 1,200 is 7,200. Calculate the contribution per unit and the profit per unit for each level of sales. Profit per unit, we can calculate. Here we have the total profits. 4,000 minus divided by 500. Here 4,000 divided by 1,000. Here we have 4. 7,000 divided by 1,000. Minus 6. That is the royal prohibition. Let's we have different formulas to calculate the break-even point. There are different formulas. So this is, we call it as CS ratio or PV ratio, contribution to sales ratio, profit volume ratio. So contribution to sales ratio means out of the sales, how much is the contribution as a percentage, right? And then we have the break-even point formulas. So we have to divide the fixed cost by the contribution per unit, or the fixed cost divided by the CS ratio. We can identify the break-even point in sales. So I will write here all the formulas. Now you can see if we do any errors in the first calculation, the calculation of contribution, entire calculation will be wrong. Right? The contribution means continue. So first step, we need to identify the contribution. So if it is contribution per unit, selling price minus variable cost, or we can add the fixed cost and profit. Then if it is the total contribution, sales minus total variable cost. Then CS ratio, or we can call it as the PV ratio, profit volume ratio, or the contribution to sales ratio. So this is contribution divided by sales into 100%. Then we can calculate the break-even point in units. So the break-even point is achieved around the units of sales around. Then we can calculate the break-even point in amounts as well. Break-even point in amounts means when we make a units, so rupee value, right? So the break-even point in units, we have to divide the fixed cost by contribution per unit. Then break-even point in amounts, fixed cost divided by PS ratio. Then we can calculate the break-even point with the target profit. We can get break-even point the profit. If we want to identify, let's say, if we needed 100,000 profit, where is our break-even point? To identify that, we can do a separate calculation. DEP in units with the target profit. Fixed cost plus target profit divided by contribution per unit. Then we in amounts with the target profit. Fixed cost plus target profit divided by sales ratio. If we take here, we calculate the contribution. Right? First step. And that particular contribution is needed to identify the CS ratio. So method of make up then to calculate the break-even point in units, we need the contribution per unit. Again, we need the contribution per unit to calculate the break-even point in units. Break-even point in amounts we need to calculate. We need to identify the CS ratio. To identify the CS ratio again, we need this contribution. Right? So break-even point in units with the target profit. May formulas the main formula this formula and this formula. You can see same formula. Fixed cost divided by contribution per unit. Again here fixed cost. Only difference is target profit we have to add. Divide by contribution. So if we take these two formulas, again same fixed cost divided by CS ratio, here fixed cost plus target profit divided by CS ratio. And again we need contribution. In this one also fixed cost plus target profit divided by CS ratio. To calculate the CS ratio, again we need the contribution. Better how we see what we are doing. Sampurna Gana work. There is a AC, you are getting a contribution to get about Hadan, Hadan the Ponta, Manson Hadan. This is the selling price, this is the variable cost. Sometimes The questions can be selling price is this much, and there are different cost types. Fixed cost, variable cost ටිකක් දීලා ඒකෙන් අපි identify කරගන්න ඕන what are the variable costs. එතකොට ඒ identify කරලා දෙකක් හරි මිස් වුණොත් contribution එක වරදිනවා. There's another concept called margin of safety. Right? The margin of safety means the difference between the budgeted number of units and the break-even units. So let's say, for an example, let's say break-even point units are 1,000. Products 1000ක් හදලා සෙල් කරොත් තමයි break-even point එක ඇසින් කරන්න ඕනේ. costs of cover cover කරන්න පුළුවන්. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් මෙහෙම break-even point එකක් තියද්දි අපේ budgeted units වෙන්න ඕන 1000ට වැඩියෙන්ද 18ට 1000ට වැඩියෙන්ද වැඩියෙන් වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒ අපි ගන්න ඕන 1000ක් හැදුවම තමයි හදලා විකුණුවම තමයි අපිට cost එක cover කරගන්න පුළුවන් කියලා. කවදාවත් අපි target එකක් කරන්නේ නැහැ ඊට අඩුවෙන්. So our target should be for that let's say 1500. So this is our budgeted units. The difference between these two, we call it as margin of safety. We can products we can cover all the costs, right? Then apart from this point, this particular area, this is entirely what? I'll make it nothing. The cost of entirely costs, right? So the margin of safety means the entire profit of the organization. So here the difference between the budgeted and the break-even. So once we calculate, let's say the contribution. The contribution can actually fixed cost plus profit. But here it is little bit different. from 0 units to 1000 units. When the main area KD, if we calculate the contribution, then the fixed cost එකයි profit එකයි තියෙනවා. Right? But this point onwards, we don't have fixed cost within our contribution. Within the contribution calculate karata, we have already covered all the fixed and variable costs from this point up to this point. Within the heart of contribution but a contribution in only profits. Then right? Contribution we calculate karata. Value it is not fixed cost plus profit, it is only profits after the break even point. Company profit if we know the margin of safety units, we can directly multiply it by contribution and get the profits. Right. For example, so here you have to calculate the break-even point in value. So, I'm making up the next one very well by considering the information that the question provided. We have to decide to identify with the value of the units. So here they have provided the total sales, total variable cost, and the total fixed cost. Right? Without after unit contribution either if at least if they provide number of units they produce, they can divide. Now here we can calculate the break-even point above. And percentage to the data 0.6 or 60%. Ada mana assignment kan jelas. Ayo pun itu tadi ya. Mereka break. Yeah, this topic is not 36, it should be 29. Calculation aquí, selling price 110 minus direct material is variable cost, direct labor, variable overhead. 20. Fixed cost. So they have provided 40. That is per unit. Fixed cost is 40. A number of units. The fixed overhead absorption rate is based on the normal capacity of 2,000. 10,000 divided by contribution by next 40. Even 50. 650. One. Point 1.16. Came out make a 651 52. 652. Hey. When the units, right? To cover up all the cost, we need to sell 651.16 means we have to additionally sell another product. I sell current, right? So it should be 652. That is the break-even point units. Then margin of safety. Margin of safety, the break-even sales units we have. And the budgeted sales units they have provided. Budget sales next one is 2,200. 2,200 minus 652. 1,400 500 40 8 40. Then budgeted profit for the next month. So here we have 1,548 units. This is entirely is the margin of safety. It means the profits. We have to multiply this by contribution 43 because this within this 43 entirely profits are implicitly. This is the budgeted profit. 66,000. 560. Then the sales required to achieve a profit of 9,000 in a month. So then we have Its cost 28,000 plus 90,000 profit divided by contribution 650. ब्रेक क्या करेंगे चार्जर Oh. Oh. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Hallelujah. Right, okay. So, this is the graphical representation of the break-even point. There are different ways that we can draw break-even charts. Here it's included all the things. But there are three main different ways of drawing the break-even charts. That is break-even chart, contribution break-even charts, and profit volume chart. Break-even chart means in break-even charts we just draw this total revenue line and total cost, and then we can identify the break-even. That we call it as break-even chart. Right? So then we have the contribution break-even chart. So that we draw this variable cost line as well, then we can identify how much is the contribution. And next we have profit volume chart. In profit volume chart, we draw only it's not like this. We draw the profit line, right? So in here, with zero, and here we have profits and losses. Likewise, we draw this line, and this is the break-even point. The profits and losses are not available. There are zero profits and zero losses, right? So in examination, you will not get draw the break-even points. Charts are in there, but the calculations will be there. Then we have the multi-product break-even analysis. So far we calculated the break-even point for only one particular product. We can calculate for the multi-product situations as well, but there are no much difference, same as one product situation. But here we have to add all the products together and calculate it at once, right? So where an organization produces and sells more than one product, the weighted average CS ratio is calculated. So first of all, we need to calculate the weighted average CS ratio. අපි කලින් හැදුවේ CS ratio එක විතරයි. Right? CS ratio එක හදද්දී අපි ගත්තේ contribution divided by revenue. Here what we have to do is, if there are, let's say, three products, product A, B and C, we have to separately identify product A, B and C total contributions. So the product A के contribution එකයි, B के contribution එකයි, C के contribution එකයි, total contribution we have to get together and divide by total revenue of product A, B and C. අර එක ප්‍රොඩක්ට් එකකට කරපු එක ඔක්කොම ප්‍රොඩක්ට් එක එකට එකතු කරලා කරනවා. සක් නැහැ. Right? Then break-even point sales revenue is calculated like fixed cost divided by, then we have the weighted average CS ratio, not just one product. We have the weighted average amount for all the three products. So then we have to divide it by weighted average CS ratio. That's the only difference. වෙනසක් නැහැ. එකම දේ අපි ඔක්කොම එකට එකතු කරලා කරනවා. Right? So here company ABC produces product A and B. Fixed overhead cost is 400,000. Following budgeted information available for the both products. For the next year, what is the break-even sales revenue? So here, if we are doing the calculation, what we have to do is we have to add both the products together and do the calculation. So here, first we need to identify the contribution. Contribution per units provided 20 plus 10. Are they asked to calculate the break-even sales revenue? So what is the weighted average CS ratio? Here we have the contribution of 20 into 20,000 units that we have produced. 20 into 20,000 plus the next product 10 into 10,000. So this divided by the total sales. Selling price they have provided 50 into 20,000 plus 70 into 10,000. At the end, it should be 6. Variable cost 70 minus 16. So then we can get the weighted average CS ratio here as a percentage. Then break-even sales revenue, fixed cost divided by weighted average CS ratio. Fixed cost 400,000 divided by the weighted average CS ratio. Right, next, sensitivity analysis. This one, we know that we have different assumptions in the break-even point. When we do the calculations, we had different assumptions. Sometimes those assumptions can be changed. Sometimes those assumptions can be changed. So because of that changes, we do a sensitivity analysis. Even though we put the assumptions, sometimes there can be some kind of changes. So this is kind of a what if technique. It means if this particular variable is changed like this, what is going to happen to the break-even point? Break-even point එක වෙනස් වෙනවද කොහොමද වෙනස් වෙන්නේ? අන්න ඒ වගේ analysis එකක් කරලා we can identify, compare the previous original break-even point, the new one is better or not, right? So there can be changes to the selling price, number of units, cost structure, variable cost, fixed cost. So if those things changes, we have to do the calculation again. ඒක අමුතු calculation එකක් ගන්නවා අපි කරන break even point එකේ මොකක්ද variable එකේ change එක අපි ආයිත් ඒක calculate කරලා බලන්න. right මේ වගේ ඒක සාමාන්‍ය exam එකේ එන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ කියන්නේ ඉස්සෙල්ලා break even point එක හදන්න ඉතින්. ඊට පස්සේ කියනවා variable cost එක මෙන්න මෙහෙම situation එකක් කරා variable cost එක change වෙලා තියෙනවා මෙහෙම percentages වල. According to that you have to develop the break even point again. Then based on those two break even points that you have to analyze the situation and say previous situation එක the company එකට profitable දැන් already තියෙන situation එක. ඒ වගේ ප්‍රශ්න තමයි එන්නේ. XYZ manufacturers sells 4 types of products. Sales mix for the products given below. The total budgeted sales are set to reach 600,000 units per month. This is what units 600,000 per month. If 600,000 is the value, will be then. And they have divided four products and the percentages of the sales mix. In sales mix, again, about 600,000 in a total sales value, we have to divide among these percentages. Okay. Then the variable cost provided 50% of the selling price. Make a selling price in there should be sales. Right? So variable cost, 50% of the sales, 30% of the sales, 12 and 8, and fixed cost provided This is a requirement to calculate the break-even point for the products on an overall basis. Overall basis කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? කියන්නේ product එකට වෙන වෙනම හදන්න එපා. අපි කලින් හැදුවේ weighted average CS ratio එක හදලා weighted average break-even point, so that we have to calculate. And then they have provided the change. So it has been proposed to change the sales mix as follows, with the sales per month remaining 600,000. And they have provided the change amount. So this is the sales mix has changed from previous to now 25, 40, 30 and 5. Assuming that the above proposal implemented, calculate the new break-even point. So what may values වලින් අලුතෙන් break-even point එක හදන්න තියෙන්නේ දෙවෙනි පාර හදන්න. First time when you are preparing, now here there are 4 products, product A, B, C and D. And here you have to calculate that make break-even point එක හදනවා ඉස්සෙල්ලා මොකද හදන්න ඕන? Break-even point එකේ first step එක මොකක්ද? Contribution. So the contribution එක මේ එකින් එකට වෙන වෙනම හදන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. Right? Because we are calculating the total contribution for all the products. So the overall basis හදනවා කියන්නේ හැම product එකකටම සම්පූර්ණ company එකට හදන්නේ. Then what you have to do is the total amount they have provided. Right? So this is the total sales. Total sales you can put here 600,000. Then this 600,000 you have to divide among these 4 products according to these percentages. When percentage you then to calculate the contribution, what we need? Sales zero, then we need the variable cost. Right. Variable cost they have provided, but we have to do a calculation. 50% of the sales. So what a maintain a value again? 50%. We have to identify it as variable cost. For the product B, 30% from this value, and 12% from this value, and 8% from this value. Then you can identify the total variable cost here. The total variable cost is then you can remove this and get the total contribution. මේක ආයි හදන්න ඕනේ. මේක products වලට හදන්න නැහැ. ඒ නිසා මේක අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ නැහැ. අපිට මෙතන variable cost එක ගන්න ඕන නිසා we have to do this calculation. Otherwise මේක නම් අපිට ඕන වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Right? Then you have the total contribution for overall products. Then you have to calculate the weighted average CS ratio. For that, contribution is there, total sales is there, then contribution divided by total sales, then you can get the percentage. Then break-even point you can get. Here we have the fixed cost divided by this particular percentage. Then we can identify the break-even point. After that, the second calculation, what you have to do is, because here sales mix change again, that 600,000 you have to divide among the new sales mix and do the calculation and identify the break-even point. break-even point එක වැඩි වෙන එක තමයි break-even point in units. අඩු වෙන එක තමයි වැඩි වෙන එක. අඩු වෙන එක. කියන්නේ let's say 1000 and 2000 break-even point 1000 means we can cover all the cost by 1000 units. 2000 වැඩි වෙනවා කියන්නේ අද නෑ. Okay, so that is about CVP analysis. Breakdown kara api ඊළඟ ABC. English